It was just past 6 a.m. in Kyoto when I saw him for the first time. An elderly man, perhaps in his late 80s, was walking with quiet strength along the edge of a serene lake. The rising sun filtered through the trees, casting soft shadows on his path. He wore a simple cardigan, moved slowly but with balance and purpose, his posture upright, his breath steady, his gaze calm. I had just arrived in Japan for a medical exchange program, curious about why the Japanese elderly were among the healthiest and most independent in the world. And that morning, I found the first part of the answer not in a hospital, but in that man's home. When he returned, his wife had laid out breakfast: grilled salmon with golden skin, a small bowl of steamed rice, warm miso soup with tofu and seaweed, a soft egg custard called shawanmushi, and pickled vegetables, a quiet feast of gentle flavors and powerful nutrients. As a physician, I've treated many older adults in the US, struggling with fatigue, muscle loss, and lack of appetite. Many of them skip breakfast or rely on toast, sugary cereal, or just a cup of coffee. But here in that little Kyoto kitchen was a tradition that rebuilt strength from the inside out. Japanese researchers from Tohoku University published a study showing that seniors who consume a breakfast rich in protein and fermented foods have up to 35% better muscle retention and fewer falls. The reason these meals support not just the muscles, but the gut, the brain, and the hormonal balance needed to age with grace. This video will take you inside that breakfast. We'll explore how each element, from the salmon to the miso, nourishes your body after 60, helping to restore energy, rebuild muscle, and start your day grounded and calm. And the best part, you can recreate it right at home. Before we begin, I'd love to know, where are you watching this from? And what time is it for you right now? Please let me know in the comments below. I truly look forward to reading them. And if you find these gentle tips helpful, don't forget to subscribe so you won't miss what's coming next. Have you ever noticed that simple things, like getting up from a chair, lifting a grocery bag, or walking up a few stairs, feel harder than they used to? You're not alone. After the age of 60, our bodies begin to lose muscle mass more rapidly. This process is called sarcopenia, and it's a natural part of aging. But just because it's common doesn't mean it's harmless or irreversible. I've worked with hundreds of older patients over the years. Many come in saying the same thing: I just feel weaker than before. They assume it's just part of getting older, something they have to accept. But here's what I always tell them: your muscles are still listening to you. What you eat, how you move, how you rest, it all speaks to your body. And the good news is, it's never too late to rebuild strength. So why does muscle loss happen faster after 60? There are a few key reasons. First, the body becomes less efficient at absorbing and using protein, especially in the morning, when muscles are most in need of repair. Second, levels of growth hormones and testosterone, both important for maintaining muscle, begin to decline. And third, many older adults naturally move less throughout the day, which sends a signal to the body that muscles aren't needed as much. But one of the most overlooked reasons: breakfast. In the US, many seniors eat breakfasts that are high in sugar and low in protein, or they skip breakfast entirely. A muffin toast or just a cup of coffee might give you a quick energy boost, but it doesn't give your muscles what they need to recover and grow stronger. Compare that with the traditional Japanese breakfast, which often contains 20 to 30 grams of high-quality protein, the exact amount that research shows is needed to stimulate muscle synthesis in older adults. That morning meal sets the tone for better mobility, balance, and energy throughout the day. When I started asking my patients to add more protein to their breakfasts, even something as simple as an egg or some yogurt, I saw real changes. They moved more easily, felt more alert, and some even slept better at night. So if you've been feeling just a little more tired or a little less steady, don't ignore it. It might not be just age, it might be your breakfast calling out for something more nourishing. And in the next part, we'll look at the powerful principles behind the Japanese way of eating, and how a simple mindset shift could change everything about how you feel starting tomorrow morning. When I first sat down to observe breakfast at a rural clinic in Japan, I expected a standard meal, maybe rice, maybe fish. But what I witnessed was something much more intentional. The tray held 5 small dishes: miso soup, grilled mackerel, a soft-boiled egg, a slice of pickled daikon, and a bowl of warm rice. Each item was simple, but together it formed a perfectly balanced whole. It was a living example of shokuiku, a Japanese philosophy that means food education. But it's not just about knowing what's healthy. It's about being mindful of how food affects your energy, your mood, your body. It's about choosing meals that support your life, not just fill your stomach. This philosophy is especially powerful for older adults. As a doctor, I've seen how so many seniors feel overwhelmed by complex diets or restrictive plans. But shokuiku is gentle. It says eat a little of many things. Nourish your body with variety. Don't rush. And most of all, enjoy the ritual. One older woman I met in Okinawa, who was 91 at the time, told me that breakfast was her way of checking in with her body. I see how my hands move when I hold the chopsticks. I notice if I still feel steady when I sit down on the floor, she said. And then I thank my food before eating. The typical Japanese breakfast for older adults follows a few key principles. Balance. Each meal includes protein like fish or egg, healthy carbs, rice, fiber, vegetables, and probiotics, fermented foods like miso or pickles. This supports digestion, energy, and muscle repair. Warmth foods are served warm, which soothes the digestive system and helps absorption. A warm meal in the morning wakes up the body gently. Portion variety. Instead of one big plate, there are several small portions. This allows for better digestion and a wider nutrient range without overeating. Gentle textures. Many foods are steamed, simmered, or lightly grilled. That makes them easier to chew and digest, especially for those with dental issues or decreased appetite. One thing I noticed, no one rushed. The television wasn't on. Breakfast wasn't an afterthought. It was a moment of grounding, a quiet ceremony of self-care. You don't have to move to Japan to benefit from this approach. You just need to start seeing breakfast as something more than fuel. It's a daily opportunity to reconnect with your body, to offer it the support it's quietly asking for. In the next section, let's explore the first and perhaps most important ingredient on the Japanese breakfast table: grilled fish, and why it's such a powerful ally for your muscles after 60. In the soft morning light of a Japanese home, the scent of grilled salmon often drifts from the kitchen before anything else. It's a gentle, comforting smell, something between earth and sea. The fish is never heavily seasoned, just a touch of salt, maybe a splash of sake, and a quick sear over a flame. But it holds something remarkable inside the quiet power: to rebuild a body that's aging, and to do so gently. I remember one patient of mine, Mr. Parker, who was 74, when we first spoke about changing his breakfast. He had been struggling with weakness in his legs and felt tired even after a full night's sleep. When I asked what he ate in the morning, he shrugged. Usually toast, maybe peanut butter, sometimes just coffee. That's when I told him about grilled salmon. Salmon is rich in omega-3 fatty acids, particularly EPA and DHA compounds, shown to reduce inflammation in muscles and joints. This is critical after 60, when low-grade inflammation becomes more common and contributes to both fatigue and muscle breakdown. But salmon is also one of the best sources of high-quality, easily digestible protein, with about 20 grams per 3-ounce serving. This is exactly the amount your body needs in the morning to trigger what scientists call muscle protein synthesis, the body's way of repairing and rebuilding muscle tissue. And then there's vitamin D. Many older adults in the US are deficient in vitamin D without knowing it. This vitamin supports bone strength, mood, immune function, and yes, muscle health. Fatty fish like salmon are one of the few natural food sources of vitamin D, especially valuable during seasons with less sunlight. But beyond the science, there's something deeper about this simple dish. When Mr. Parker began eating salmon for breakfast twice a week, lightly grilled with some brown rice and a few slices of cucumber. He told me something changed. I feel clearer, he said, like I'm waking up stronger. In Japan, grilled fish in the morning is more than tradition. It's a quiet signal to the body. You're worthy of care. You don't need to be a chef to make it. Just buy a small fillet, fresh or frozen, pat it dry season with a little salt, and cook it skin side down on a hot pan or in the oven for about 10-12 minutes. That's it. You can pair it with leftover rice or some warm vegetables. The point isn't perfection, it's presence. It's giving your muscles something real, something kind, something they can use. And even if you start with just once a week, your body will notice. In the next part, we'll explore the quiet magic of miso soup, a humble bowl that does more for your gut brain and immune system than you might ever expect. Before I even tasted it, the warmth of miso soup wrapped around me like a soft blanket. It was my first winter morning in Hokkaido. Outside, snow fell silently across wooden rooftops, but inside the small countryside inn, a steaming bowl of miso soup waited beside my breakfast tray. The aroma was earthy, a little salty, and deeply comforting. I remember the first sip, how it seemed to settle everything inside me. And only later did I realize just how healing that little bowl truly was. Miso soup may look simple, a clear broth with floating bits of tofu seaweed and green onions, but it is one of the most powerful tools the Japanese use to support health, especially in older age. As a doctor, I often speak about digestion and immunity, but not many patients realize how deeply gut health connects to muscle strength. After the age of 60, our digestive systems become more sensitive. We may absorb fewer nutrients, experience more inflammation, and feel discomfort that affects our appetite. That's where miso comes in. Miso is a fermented paste made from soybeans, rice, or barley, and a special mold called koji. During fermentation, millions of beneficial bacteria called probiotics are produced. When we eat miso, these living organisms enter our gut and begin restoring balance to our digestive microbiome. Why does this matter for muscle? Because a healthy gut is essential for absorbing protein, vitamins, and minerals. If your gut is inflamed or unbalanced, you can eat all the right foods, but your body won't receive their full benefit. Think of miso soup as preparing the soil so the nutrients from the rest of your meal can take root and nourish you properly. There's also another surprising benefit: mood and clarity. Modern studies now show that the gut and brain are deeply connected. A happier gut produces more serotonin, reduces anxiety, and improves sleep. I've seen this firsthand when my patients improve their digestion, often with small steps. Like adding fermented foods, they often report sharper focus and a more stable mood. Take Mrs. Jensen, for example. At 68, she struggled with bloating and loss of appetite. She'd been skipping breakfast because nothing felt good in the morning. I suggested she try a cup of warm miso broth before eating anything else. 2 weeks later, she came in smiling. "It's like my stomach finally wants food again," she said. And more importantly, she started eating enough protein again to support her muscle recovery. Miso soup is easy to prepare at home. You can buy miso paste. At most grocery stores, look for white or yellow miso, which are milder in flavor. To make the soup, just warm a cup of water, don't boil it. Dissolve about a tablespoon of miso paste in it, and add soft tofu cubes, dried seaweed, wakame, or thinly sliced green onion. One important tip: never boil miso. High heat can kill the beneficial bacteria. Think of it as a living food, something that breathes life into your system. In Japan, miso soup is more than nourishment. It's comfort, stability, and tradition in one bowl. It brings warmth to the stomach, but also to the spirit. Even if you're not hungry in the morning, just a few sips of miso broth can wake up your digestive system, set your metabolism in motion, and help your body receive what it needs to heal. Next, let's look at what keeps that energy going through the morning: the humble bowl of steamed rice, and how the Japanese use it not to gain weight, but to gain steadiness and strength. In the West, rice is often seen with suspicion, Too many carbs, too much sugar, something to be avoided if you want to stay healthy. But in Japan, rice is sacred. It's not just food, it's stability. And for older adults, that humble bowl of steamed rice in the morning may be exactly what the body is quietly asking for. I remember watching an 84-year-old farmer in rural Nagano as he sat down to his morning meal. The centerpiece, a modest bowl of warm, glistening white rice, not piled high, just enough. He ate slowly, chewing each bite with care. Afterward, he tied his boots and walked out into the crisp morning to tend his garden, strong, steady, and smiling. So what makes rice such a wise choice in the Japanese breakfast? First, it provides slow, steady energy. After 60, our blood sugar becomes more sensitive. Many people experience morning fatigue or even lightheadedness if they don't eat something grounding. Rice, especially when paired with protein and healthy fats, gives your body glucose in a gentle, gradual way. This helps prevent energy crashes and supports your muscles through the morning. Second, rice is easy to digest. That's crucial for older adults whose digestive systems may struggle with heavy or oily breakfasts. Steamed rice, especially warm, soothes the stomach and pairs well with other nutrient-rich foods like salmon or miso soup. But what about the type of rice in Japan? Both white rice and brown rice are used. White rice is softer and more traditional, often easier to digest for those with sensitive stomachs. Brown rice offers more fiber B vitamins and a nutty flavor. Either can be part of a healing breakfast. The key is portion and pairing. I often suggest my patients start with half a cup of cooked rice combined with protein and vegetables. It's not about the carbs alone, it's about the whole picture. In one case, a patient of mine who had been skipping carbs in the morning due to fear of weight gain found herself constantly tired and irritable. When we reintroduced a small bowl of rice with her breakfast, she reported better mood, more energy, and even more stable weight over time because she wasn't reaching for snacks mid-morning anymore. In Japan, there's a saying, Ichiju sansai, one soup, 3 sides, and rice. It reminds us that balance is more important than restriction. And rice, in its quiet way, holds the whole meal together. In the next part, we'll explore a dish both elegant and deeply healing. Chawan mushi, the Japanese steamed egg custard, and why it might be one of the most gentle and powerful sources of protein for the aging body. If you've never had chawan mushi, imagine this: a small porcelain cup, steam gently rising from the surface. Inside a silky custard, not sweet but savory, made from egg dashi broth, and just a few delicate ingredients like mushroom, shrimp, or a thin slice of chicken. It's warm, barely set, and melts in your mouth like a whisper. The first time I tried it, an 82-year-old Japanese nurse named Aki prepared it for me in her home in Yokohama. She told me she had eaten chawan mushi almost every morning for 40 years. It goes down easy, she said, smiling, but it stays with you. And she was right. Chawan mushi, which literally means steamed in a teacup, is more than a breakfast item. It's a tradition rooted in nourishment, gentleness, and deep respect for the aging body. As a doctor, I often see older adults struggle with appetite or chewing due to dentures, dry mouth, or even anxiety around eating. Hard or dry foods can feel like a burden, but soft, warm dishes like chawan mushi are both comforting and practical. More importantly, eggs are one of the most complete proteins available. They contain all 9 essential amino acids in perfect proportion for human use. For someone over 60 whose ability to build and maintain muscle is naturally declining, eggs offer a gentle but powerful solution. One large egg contains about 6 to 7 grams of high-quality protein, along with choline for brain function, selenium for immune health, and lutein for eye protection. But beyond nutrients, it's the way the Japanese prepare it that makes the biggest difference. Instead of frying eggs in oil or butter, which can be heavy for the stomach, chawan mushi is steamed in a broth made from kombu kelp and bonito flakes. This dashi base is not only flavorful, but rich in umami, known to stimulate digestion and enhance nutrient absorption, especially helpful when appetite is low. I had a patient in his early 70s who was recovering from surgery and losing weight quickly. Nothing seemed appetizing. I suggested trying chawan mushi. His daughter made it at home, adding a bit of soft spinach and minced chicken. Within days, he began eating more. His energy returned, and he smiled when he told me, "It's like eating warmth." The beauty of chawan mushi lies in its texture soft enough for anyone to eat, including those with chewing difficulties or mild swallowing issues, and it can be easily customized. Add mushrooms for extra umami, shrimp for protein, or even tofu for a soy-based twist. Here's how you can make it at home. 1. Beat 2 eggs gently with chopsticks. Don't whisk too hard. You don't want bubbles. 2. Add 1 cup of warm dashi broth, or use low-sodium chicken broth if you can't find dashi. 3. Season with a splash of soy sauce and a pinch of salt. 4. Strain the mixture to remove bubbles for a smooth finish. 5. Pour into small heat-proof cups or bowls. 6. Add small toppings, a slice of mushroom, a piece of cooked chicken or a shrimp. 7. Steam gently for 12 to 15 minutes until just set. It's a dish that doesn't shout but heals quietly. In Japan, elders eat chawanmushi not just for its taste, but for its message that food should meet you where you are. That even when chewing is hard or energy is low, there is a way to receive nourishment with dignity. And perhaps more than any other dish on the Japanese breakfast table, chawanmushi embodies that spirit. It's food as care, food as understanding, food as comfort. As we begin to close this exploration of the Japanese breakfast, let's take a moment to reflect. What if breakfast wasn't just about filling your stomach, but about sending kindness to every part of your body? In the final section, I'll gently bring it all together and offer you a few small steps you can take tomorrow morning to begin restoring strength, balance, and vitality, one bite at a time. Somewhere in a quiet neighborhood in Kyoto, the dishes have been washed, and the morning sun is rising higher in the sky. An elderly couple sits by the open window, sipping green tea slowly. They're not rushing. There's no television on. Just the sounds of birds, the rustle of wind, and the soft rhythm of a body that has been nourished gently, thoughtfully, completely. This image has stayed with me since my time in Japan, because in that moment I realized that breakfast is not just about food, it's about care. And after 60, we need more care, not less. Not just from others, but from ourselves. The Japanese breakfast is built on this quiet belief that the first thing you offer your body each morning matters deeply, that the body you've lived in for 60, 70, or even 90 years still deserves warmth, protein, balance, and gentleness, and that healing can begin not in grand gestures, but in the most ordinary of moments, cracking an egg, warming broth, laying chopsticks beside a bowl. Let's take a moment to remember the 4 humble heroes of the morning table. A piece of grilled salmon rich in protein and omega-3s, rebuilding muscle and reducing inflammation with every bite. A bowl of miso soup teeming with life probiotics that nourish your gut, lift your mood, and unlock nutrients for repair. A scoop of steamed rice, offering slow energy and digestive ease, grounding you for the day ahead. A cup of chawanmushi, the gentlest custard of eggs and broth, whispering to your muscles, you are still strong, you are still growing. None of these foods are expensive, none require complicated tools or supplements. What they ask for is intention, a willingness to listen to your body's quiet needs, and to answer with food that loves you back. You might be wondering, do I have to change everything all at once? Absolutely not. Change can be kind. You can begin with just one thing. Perhaps tomorrow you add a small cup of miso soup to your usual breakfast, or swap your toast for half a bowl of rice, or steam an egg instead of frying it. What matters is the shift in perspective from eating to get by, to eating to support the version of you that still wants to move, garden, laugh, walk, create. Because even after 60, your muscles are not done. Your bones are still listening, your cells are still healing, and your spirit is still reaching forward. One of my patients once told me, after months of gradually changing her breakfast, I feel like I'm finally living in a body that takes care of me again. And that perhaps is the heart of this entire message. Food can become a partner in your healing. And breakfast, the first gift of the day, can set everything in motion, not just for your body, but for your mind, your confidence, and your peace. So wherever you are, in this moment, know this: it's not too late. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to be present, with a warm bowl in your hands, a quiet breath, and the willingness to begin. Your body is still listening. Every morning is a chance to begin again. Before we part, I'd love to hear from you. What part of this Japanese breakfast spoke to you most deeply? Is there one dish you feel drawn to try? Please let me know in the comments. I read everyone with care. And if you found this video nourishing, do consider subscribing. There is more healing to come. Until next time, be kind to your mornings and even gentler to yourself.